If you guys want coins for FC24, make sure you check out MMOEXP.com. Their link is down in the description. They're very fast, they're very cheap, they're very reliable, and if you use my code Rema, you can get yourself a lovely 5% discount.
So what's up guys, it's Ash here and welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. In today's video guys, we have my updated 4-3-3 5th variation custom tactics and player instructions to help you out in FC24. I really like this formation. I think it's good both through the middle and out wide. The centre forward does really help in terms of build up compared to other variations of the 4-3-3 in my opinion, and this is probably my personal favourite variation of it. So yeah, with all that aside guys, let's get right into the video and I hope you enjoy. Alright then guys, so starting off with the custom tactics for the 4-3-3. For the defensive style, I do advise having this on balanced, as I feel like it gives you the best control over your defenders. So when you want to press your opponent, you can, and then when you want to drop off and maybe be a little bit more passive, you can also do that. If you feel more comfortable using pressure tactics, that is absolutely fine, go right ahead, but I will say this, there is a better option for pressure in this game in my opinion, which we'll get onto in a moment. Moving on to the defensive width guys, I suggest anywhere between 40 and 50 as you want to keep your defense nice, narrow and compact to block out all those attacks through the middle. It's very important to do that. I wouldn't suggest going much lower though if you do, because you still need to have good coverage of the wider areas to block out those attacks down the wing in case your opponent goes down the wing, which let's be honest, they quite often will do. So 40 to 50 is my suggestion. Sorry, I'm having trouble with the controller here. And yeah, moving on, we have the depth on 65. Now, there's not a specific number that you need to use. There are a few different things you can try. One thing that a lot of people will like is that 71 depth thing. The reason 71 depth is preferred by a lot of people is because the game basically presses for you. All the AI players are super aggressive, win the ball high up the pitch, and make it very difficult for your opponent to attack. Me, personally, I don't like this as it feels too automatic, and I feel like I'm out of control a lot of the time. And I much prefer something like 65 where we don't have that automatic press, but we still have that high defensive line. I just feel like I'm more in control. That being said, if you want to lower the depth even more, just lower it to whatever you prefer. You know, there's not really a specific depth that is amazing. It's just about what you prefer and how it fits your play style. Now, moving on to the build-up play, guys, I would advise using balanced as I find it to be the most controlled and the most varied way to build up. I also think it's better than all these other settings at what they do anyway. What I mean by this is, for example, slow build-up. This just makes your AI players move really slowly or just not move at all. Doesn't actually help you build up slowly. It just makes your AI useless, in my opinion, of course. Fast build-up just makes your players move way too quick and not into good areas. It just seems to be a bit chaotic and doesn't really help you out. And then the other settings aren't that great either. Now, balance just allows you to play all these styles in one, and I feel like you just get the best movement out of the AI as a whole, and whichever style you want to play, it's easiest to do with balance. But that's just my opinion. You guys might, you know, think something else. For the chance creation though, guys, I would highly advise direct passing as I find it to be the most meta in this game. This one's an absolute must in my opinion. The reason being is when you use direct passing, your attackers will make these runs. Defenders will follow your attackers that are making the runs, and then once that defender has overcommitted, your attacker will track back so that you can cut back to them. So it's a very broken AI movement. Even if it is a little bit boring, it's the only way to consistently score in this game. Now, moving on to the attacking width, you can pretty much use whatever you're comfortable with. I go with 53, which is just a bit higher than the default. I don't usually use like widths in this range, but it's just because it is technically a wider formation, so I don't want to make it too narrow. That being said, if you want to make it more narrow, you can go into the 40s or 30s, or if you want to make it really wide, you can go into like the 60s, but it's completely up to you, whichever you prefer. Now, for the players in the box, guys, I have this on 6 as I find it to be the most balanced. You can get a few players into that penalty area, but you don't have to overcommit to the point where if you lose out on possession, you're not always going to get counter-attacked or at least be punished on the counter-attack. But again, do what you prefer. And the same for the corners and the free kicks. I have these both on 1 because I don't really cross corners and I don't want all my players committing into the area because I hate getting counter-attacked from set pieces. But if you guys want to up this, that is completely fine. Just go right ahead. Now, for the player instructions, guys, for the striker or the centre forward, may I say, we also have them on stay central and get in behind. Now, the reason we do this is because we want to keep him in the middle. We have wingers in this formation, so we don't particularly need this player to drift out wide as such. We want them to be in the middle. It's essential for both the build-up and, you know, finishing chances, because you do need that player there, otherwise you might be a little bit screwed. So I do advise stay central, and then we also pop them on getting behind, as this player can be a little bit static on mixed attack, especially being a centre forward, so you do really have to force the runs out of them to make sure they do run in behind. But because they are a centre forward, sometimes they will drop a little bit deeper to pick up the ball, which is really nice maybe in comparison to just a striker. Now for both of the wingers, guys, I pop them on comeback on defence, cut inside and get in behind. Comeback on defence is very good because it makes these players cover these wider areas that are next to the two centre mids, so Hullet and Rolfo. You'll see there's big gaps there, so we don't want that because our opponents can exploit that. So by having these wingers on comeback on defence, they will come back to fill in that space. So you have good coverage of both these narrow areas and the wider areas, which is very important in my opinion. Cut inside's good because it means they start their runs out wide and then make the transitional runs into the more narrow areas to get closer to the goal and to like the centre forward. It's a really good attacking AI movement that I like. If you guys don't want to use this, again, you don't have to, but I really like it. We also obviously have these players on getting behind, so they do utilise their pace to get in behind and, you know, run down the wing. Otherwise, they can be a little bit static, and we don't really want that. Now moving on to the right centre mid, guys. This one's more like a box-to-box style, I would say. So we just leave them on the default settings and then pop them on covert centre. I like this because I don't really want to restrict them all that much. You know, they are box to box, so I want them to attack and defend, kind of just do a bit of everything. The only thing I change is cover center, so that it will primarily cover the middle areas, as we do have the wingers coming back to cover the wider positions. Now, for the CDM guys, obviously the more defensive-minded midfielder, stay back while attacking, cut passing lanes and cover center. Stay back because we obviously don't want him flying forward if he is the holding midfielder. We need that rock, we need that anchor, and we need that balance in the midfield. Cut passing lanes is especially good if you have a player with intercept plus or something like that, because they'll always block out those passes and get you easy possession. And then cover center so that they can primarily cover that middle area. Again, we don't really need them to cover the wing. For the left centre mid, guys, I use like a bit more of an attacking forward. You know, you can pretty much use whoever you want here, but you can just use another centre mid. Rolfo's great because, you know, she's got really good attacking stats and defensive stats. So even though I send her forward, she can get back fairly quickly because of the high work rate and those great defensive stats too. So that's someone you'd want to go for, in my opinion, but each to their own. Get forward, obviously, fly them forward, and then I also have them on stay on the edge of the box across. So, you know, when we maybe shoot at the keeper or it gets rebounded or the opponent tries to clear it, we have this player here ready to pick up the ball, maybe shoot or even just recycle the play. That's why I do that. And then cover center again so that they will primarily cover those middle areas when defending. Now for the fullbacks, guys, whichever one is your most attacking one, I would suggest balanced overlap. So this one's the right back in my case. This is really good because I do have the wingers on cut inside, which means they obviously transition into the more narrow areas, leaving space for this fullback to overlap and then, you know, give us another option. So we have players in the narrow areas, and then we have this fullback giving us that width that we might be lacking at times. You know, this is great if you have a fullback with width pass plus, for example, because they can get out wide and then, you know, ping a ball into the box or something like that. But I really like this. You guys might not, but I think it's underrated. The other fullback I have on stay back and overlap, so we always have at least 3 defenders back at a time. But when we send them on the run forward, just like the other fullback, they will overlap and add that width. For the 2 centre backs, we leave them alone, of course, and then the keeper, we also leave them alone. But yeah, guys, they're my tactics and the instructions for the 4-3-3-5. If you guys have enjoyed or found this useful, please be sure to drop it a thumbs up. It does really help me out. Sub to the channel if you are new so you never miss out on any videos, and don't forget to turn on those notifications. And with all that said, guys, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out, guys. Take care.